How's it? And welcome to the Vitara. It is not to be confused with the Grand Vitara. It is just the Vitara. So like the Grand Vitara, it's just like less grand. But it's a different car entirely. So there's a bunch of these in the range. So the model I've got is the 1.4 turbo, and it's got a manual gearbox. There is an auto available, but this manual is actually really good. I mean, if you're all like four-rowing your car down the road. Engine produces 103 kilowatts, which is not like a huge amount. The Vitara is not a 4x4, it is a 2x4, so front wheel drive only. In and around town, it's really easy to drive, and even on the open road, it gets up to like 120, 130 quite easily. It's really spacious. It's got a huge boot at the back. Cabin inside is really spacious as well, like two teenage boys in the back there, no problem. And most importantly, it's actually equipped with a decent amount of electronics. I'm pleasantly surprised. This car comes in at about 400,000 Rand. So it does relatively well when you consider everything that it's got and the price point at which it comes in. So in the center, you've got your digital screen. It's got Apple CarPlay and what's it called, Android Auto built in, so you jack your phone in and CarPlay comes up. The touch screen is super responsive. That's something about touch screens in modern cars. Like a year or two ago, I was driving cars that were just like a little bit on the funky side. Like when you touch the screen, there was a bit of a delay. And here we are in 2020, and new cars are just like instantly responsive. The touch screen scenario has now been solved. There is no reason for a manufacturer to put a screen in that is inferior and doesn't respond properly to touch. So the Vitara has a good touch screen. It's decently sized. It's about 6 to 7 inches. Comes equipped with aircon, nothing fancy, just like temperature, aircon, auto works. The gauge cluster is pretty standard. In between the dials, you've got a little LCD. It's clear, it's bright, it's just, it gives you your fuel economy, average economy, real-time economy, range left, trip counter, temperature outside, the time, all very neatly packed into that cluster. It just works really well. On the steering wheel, you've got your volume controls on the left, your cruise control on the right, sort of bottom left, you have your telephone options, indicators, wipers, all the usual stuff. It's really well equipped. It's got all the stuff you need. It's got electric windows in the front and the rear. It's got automatic locking. It's got keyless entry as well. So where is the key? Over here. So here's the key. It's got like a start button. You press a button on the door, it unlocks the door. It's actually got a lot in it. Except it's got one really cool feature that's completely non-digital. And that's this like grandpa clock in the center here. It's grandpa clock, analog clock, shall we call it, before grandpas get upset. So it's got this analog clock in the center here, which I really like. Is nice. Seats are comfortable, steering is light, clutch is light, gear changes are smooth. As I said, at 100 kilowatts, it's quite nippy around town. It gets up to 120, 130 on the open road. It's got 6 gears, so 120, 130 in 6th gear. The revs are low, it doesn't feel strained, there's still power left. It's a great little car. It really, really is a good little car. And for 400 grand new, like, you just actually can't go wrong here. Suzuki as a brand, I feel though, is one of the more sort of underrated brands, especially in South Africa. South Africans love their brands. Like, we love Volkswagen. Everybody wants to drive a Polo. Everybody wants to drive a Golf. But honestly, like, what you get from Suzuki in terms of reliability, in terms of price, this comes with a 4-year service plan as well. Everything you get here is really good. There's absolutely no reason to not like this car. So I've decided to take this Vitara, and I have not had the opportunity to actually get out of town with it, but I would like very much to make a bunch of time-lapse shots we're heading into sunset and I'm heading the wrong direction, which is probably not great. But I've been in the mood to do some time lapses of this car, and I also want to do more nighttime shots, nighttime photography of cars. So I've head out, it's about 5 o'clock, 20 to 5, and I'm heading out to go do exactly that. See if I can get some sunset sort of light, sunsetting light, and then some nighttime light. I'm particularly hoping to land up in the city and hope there's a lot of light there that kind of makes good backdrops, a bit of out of focus stuff, get some depth of field, some bokeh going, and see what that looks like. So if you're keen to tag along, then tag along. Of course it's like windy and I'm half expecting there's like cool cloud in the sky. And now here in Cork Bay there isn't a single cloud in the sky. I have decided that that side of the mountain is just the wrong side of the mountain. Who would have thought? Sunset's on that side of the mountain, and I'm trying to shoot time. Look, so that's Muizenberg. It's quite nice. It's all right, but there's no sun there, and there's actually no cloud there either. So it's not like you even get cool cloud movement or anything like that. What I've decided to do is I've got a bit of time. I'm going to leg it over to Llandudno area. 12 Apostles, that side of the mountain. We should be able to see a bit of a sunset there, and then just like the time lapses with the sunset would be far prettier than time lapses in the shade in Muizenberg, right? Right, so let's go. This car's like really peppy. I really enjoy it. And actually, like, check this out. Speed bump, slow down. Suspension, this is such a good little car. It really is. This is like a fun, everyday, spacious, good power, lacquer suspension. So I've noticed this over the last week that I've been driving this Vitara. It's like the suspension is really good. Throttle response is really good. The gear change is easy. This is like an easy car to drive quickly in and around town without like being crazy. You know, we're not like in a 200 kilowatt car here that's going to get out of control. It's quick enough to get up to power, so you kind of 0 to 60 sprints between robots is just really good. Fuel consumption's not bad either. Getting 7, and as we all know, Sean does not drive like grandpa. Again with the grandpa insults. Really sorry if you're a grandpa. That's like really a dig at my dad. Sorry, Dad. I don't like drive slowly, so getting 7 on this is not bad at all. It's a fun car to drive. Actually quite cool. I managed to time sunset perfectly. I found a little spot. I could park the car, get the sun behind it. Pretty stoked. So I'm going to head into town, and this is the real thing that I'm after. It's kind of night lapse type stuff. You've seen in my previous video right at the end. I'm quite keen on doing more night lapses, kind of light trails. So the car kind of neatly lit, and then just having lights moving behind it. There's a cool way to do that with photography as well, where you set up, you set a slow shutter speed, so you take a picture that exposes for like 5 seconds, and then a car drives past either in front of it or behind the vehicle that you're shooting, and you kind of get those cool light trails. So I might screw around and try some of those as well. I haven't done those in a long time. But yeah, I want to play with light. I've always shot, in the 10 years I've been doing press cars, everything I've shot has pretty much been sort of either broad daylight, which is the worst. We're gonna haul myself out of bed at like the arse crack of dawn to go and get sunrise shoots. If you do it in summer, you either need to get up at like 4 a.m. or if you do it in winter, you literally freeze to death. So I mean, sunrise is cool, and the side of the mountain I live on is sunrise is the easiest for me. Or you're gonna do sunset, and then it's like you're gonna schlep out the side of the mountain, which is a bit further for me. So I kind of thought like play with some nighttime shots. You also don't see like too much of that out and about anymore. So that is the mission tonight. So while this Vitara is not a performance car by any means, 100 kilowatts aside, it actually handles really well. Like it feels on point. The steering doesn't. Gosh, it was one of the Suzuki's. I forget which one. It was one of the Suzuki's. I forget which one exactly. It might have been. The Honda Jazz does the same thing. You know, you come around a corner and then you kind of, the car should normally straighten out. So like in some really cheap cars, the car doesn't do that. It's like because it's completely drive-by-wire. But this straightens out. This feels, but the steering feels good. Feels you're kind of aware of where you are on the road. It's responsive in its turning. Again, like you're not going blindingly quick. But for the sort of speed this car is and the power it produces, its handling is certainly on point. Okay, that last time lapse was 10 minutes standing in the freezing cold outside. Holy cats and dogs, is cold. So this was a cool idea, very badly executed. So I'm gonna go home and I'm just gonna make like light trail time lapses driving the car going home, because not a chance am I standing in this freezing cold weather. It's like 13 degrees outside and I'm not dressed for this. Cool idea, but maybe we'll try this in summer when it's not like 13 degrees outside and I'm dressed for like 25 degrees. So yeah, that last time lapse was 10 minutes of freezing cold. Came out quite nicely, I think. So yeah, pretty stoked. Definitely try this again, but not tonight.